Smith is a bad guy. I look at Stephen A. Smith as a guy that wants the Democrats, because he's still a Democrat. He's a Democrat that wants the other Democrats to wake up and start trying to do better. But I think he's barking up the wrong tree. I think he's going to the Democrats, trying to get them to get on board with common sense. But they reject what Stephen A has to say, and they're doubling down. They could care less what Stephen A has to say. They could care less. Their main focus is how to get Trump, how to stop Trump, how to prevent America from becoming great, how to implement all of the evil, wicked things that they want to implement in the country. That's what their focus is all about. And when Stephen A. Smith comes along and he starts saying rational things, they, for the most part, ignore him. Now, I haven't seen, now maybe you have, I haven't seen any of these radical leftists on the liberal media outlets, what have you. I haven't seen them come out and say anything about what Stephen A. Smith has been saying. I haven't seen them do it. I haven't seen them come out and say, Stephen A. Smith, he's wrong for what he's saying. He needs to stop doing what he's doing. None of them have said, no, I have heard none of them say that. I've heard none of them say it. But nonetheless, Stephen A. Smith, ESPN, he's very known, very well known in the sport industry. So a lot of people know exactly who he is. But every now and then when I listen to him, I make this comment that I've been saying about him, and not just him, but Bill Maher. I've said it about Jake Tapper here lately, Jake Tapper. And the only reason why he's doing it because he wants his book sales to go. But I've also said it about Chris that used to be on CNN. Chris Cuomo. I say it about him. A light bulb will come on and then it goes out. Sometimes it just goes out immediately. Sometimes it comes on really bright and then it just goes dim and it fades right back out. And as I just mentioned, Jake Tapper, the only reason why he's out there speaking some truth right now is because he's trying to sell his book. He wants his book to sell. I mean, he's been going on all of these talk shows, and you know what, Shannon, we need to reach out to Jake Tapper and see if he'll come on and talk with me. I mean, hey, it's another book sale. So this might be the time he'll come on and talk with me because I want to ask him. I said, man, you said some nasty stuff. He said some extremely nasty stuff about President Trump. And when everybody was saying what we were seeing about Joe Biden, he was talking nasty about President Trump. He completely ignored what was happening. Completely ignored it. And during the time while he was saying all this bad stuff about President Trump, where was Stephen A. Smith then? The only reason why Stephen A. Smith, personally, the reason why he's saying something now is because they lost. And he's trying to correct it so it doesn't happen again in the future. But they're not listening to him. Now I give it to him. He's trying really hard. He has a mouthpiece. He has a big mouthpiece. And as big as his mouthpiece is, meaning that he has a large reach, as big as his mouthpiece is, they're rejecting him. And they're not saying it out publicly that I can tell, as I just mentioned, but they're rejecting him. They're doubling down. Now, look, when they talk about sports and stuff, they're probably saying in the background, they're saying, I wish he would stop talking this way. I wish he would just only talk about sports. But at the end of the day, he still wants the Democrat Party to win. That's the only reason why I believe Stephen A. is speaking up. Because he's frustrated. There's this thing going around called black fatigue. Have you heard about it? It's like all over social media, at least on X. I'm not sure. I don't see it on Facebook. I don't get on Facebook that much here lately because what they've done to me, and they did this on purpose, and it's like a one of the social programs. You ever see the documentary Social Dilemma to get people to do a certain thing, or act a certain way, or respond to certain things? Well, I guess I didn't play the game that they wanted me to play, so they hit me hard on Facebook. But nonetheless, same thing with Stephen A. They want people to just believe a certain thing, and like I said, he will go out there and talk about sports. They don't want him to talk about anything else. They only want you to talk about sports. But now that he's out there talking about Trump and that the MAGA right was correct, now he won't say it. He said true or not true, because what the MAGA Republicans were doing, what they were saying, they looked like they were right. He can't even bring himself to say that the MAGA right was right. He can't say MAGA was right. Is there a MAGA left? Because he refers to him as MAGA right. Does Hakeem Joffrey does it? Does he do that too? I know he says MAGA extremist, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's not a MAGA left, because no one on the left actually cares about this country, from what I can tell, from the way they've demonstrated things. They don't care for this country. So there is no MAGA left. There's no MAGA center. You're just MAGA or you're not. You either love the country or you don't. Well, I got a couple of things I want to share with you with Stephen A. And of course, I think it's really important that we share this, because the Democrat Party, and I've said this for several weeks now, they are truly on the verge of total collapse. And he's trying to save them. He's trying. Even President Trump said, maybe Stephen A. has a future for him in maybe president one day in the future. Who knows? Running for president, who knows? Even President Trump acknowledged that he says some things that makes complete sense. Talking about this original sin. Well, listen to what Stephen A. has to say here.
Left of, the things that they were accusing legacy media of, there is no way to get around what I'm about to say. When you consider this book, Original Sin, and what the members of the Biden administration, along with other people in the political apparatus that is the Democratic Party, when you could take into consideration what several folks, if not many, were willing to do to conceal the cognitive decline that President Biden was enduring, nobody comes out looking better than Donald Trump and the MAGA right. Because the things that they were saying, the things that they were accusing the left of, the things that they were accusing legacy media of, whether it's true or not, they look right. They look like they were on point.
Whether it's true or not, they look right. Come on, man. Just say it. Why do you have to say it like that? Whether true or not, they look right. So you're not going to even acknowledge it now? See, this is the problem that I see that they have. He knows that the MAGA right, whatever that means, because there's no MAGA left, he knows very well that we were right when we were saying all of these things that we were observing by the Democrats and Joe Biden. He knows that we were right, but he can't bring himself to say it. Yes, they were right. Now he'll admit to some things. I give it to him. He'll admit to some things, but he should just came out and say, you know what? As much as I don't like it, they were right. As much as I don't like it. At least say that. Be honest. Now, he's saying it in a roundabout way. We all know that's what he's saying, but he doesn't want to come out and directly say it, because just maybe then he'll start getting the attacks from the left that he doesn't want to take on. And I'm not saying that he's scared. He just don't want to take them on. because he can see how vindictive and how evil the left can be. When they find out that you are speaking too many truths, or you starting to acknowledge that the MAGA are right, again, whatever that means, and President Trump was correct, they will start going after your finances. He just did another, I forget how many $millions deal with ESPN. And if the radical lunatic liberals, if they decided that Stephen A. Smith is no longer someone that they want to support, no longer someone that they want on their side, they will target ESPN to get him removed. And he knows this. This is the reason why he toes the line. This is the very reason why Stephen A. Smith won't come right out and say that the MAGA Republicans were right. He won't say that. Am I calling him out? Holla at me, Stephen A. Holla at me. We can have the conversation. I know you're not going to see it because they block all of my videos. But what I'm saying is 100% true. He's demonstrated over and over. The light bulb comes on, then it dims right back out. And I don't think anyone else is calling him out. I'll take that back. I forget who it was. Someone was actually mentioning that about these. They didn't mention Stephen A., but they were mentioning Jake the Snake because of what he's doing right now. They were mentioning Chris Cuomo, and they were mentioning Bill Maher even, because they come out and they say they say these talking points, or they express the common sense stuff that's happening. They'll bring that up. They'll talk about that. But they tote the line just to make sure that they don't go all the way overboard with it. Yeah, someone said, yeah, thank you so much. $100 million deal with ESPN. Thank you so much for that, Yolanda. $100 million deal. And he knows very well that they will go after that $100 million deal to ESPN. And ESPN, more likely, will cave in to the woke, radical, lunatic liberals. He knows that they probably will. So I just call it out because he has to go on there. He go on there sometime. Look, said, this is how I just call it. And he said, I don't like Trump, to make sure they go, okay. He's just saying stuff for the ratings, right? Stephen A. Smith is not a stupid person. He's not at all. Well, he actually brings on Jake the Snake with him, and he calls him out on it. And again, the reason why he calls out Jake the Snake about what's in this book, Original Sin, is because the Democrats lost. Now, Jake the Snake, his objective here, because he saw everything that was going on, Jake the Snake, I don't believe that he just wrote this book in the last 200 days. Or maybe he did. I don't know. With AI, you can write a book within 24 hours now and have it ready to publish. Pretty amazing.
I will say, Stephen, and we never got somebody that said, we should never have done this. I can't believe we did it. In retrospect, it was a mistake. How arrogant we were. I mean, even, there was a top White House aide who acknowledged to me that this short 10, 15-minute interview I did with Joe Biden in October 2022, he would not have been capable of doing in October 2023. That admission was stunning to me, but it did not come with, and we really made a mistake. We shouldn't have run him. What an error. I can't believe we did it. It didn't come with that. It came with, but we thought that he was the only one that could beat Trump, blah, blah, blah. So I think that most were telling the truth as much as they had come to terms with it themselves. But I do wonder where they will be in a year, because I heard from one of the people that one of the Democrats I interviewed for the book, who gave me one of the most shocking revelations, and I checked in, and how are you doing? And they're upset, but they're not upset at us. They're not upset at the book. They're just upset that it happened, and now everybody's talking about it. So I still think that I think they're still working through a lot, don't you?
Yeah, there's gradations of honesty.
Yeah. I think they're upset that it's all coming out too. They were there. They were complicit with it. They knew it was happening. Oh, look what Joe Biden's doing. Something's wrong with Joe. He can't complete a sentence. Oh, it's time for nappy time. He's going on vacation again. But we got all these things. Don't worry about it. We got the auto pen. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got the auto pen. The Democrat Party is on the verge of collapsing. And I want it to collapse. I do. The only thing is, I'm concerned about what they will bring back, right? Because once the Democrat Party completely collapses, which is on the verge of doing that very thing, because they don't have a leader. I mean, is it AOC? Is it Jasmine Crackpot? Is it Hakeem Joffreys? Is it Chuck Schumer? Who is it? They don't have a leader right now, so they are on the total verge of collapse. But they use this auto pen to do what Joe Biden couldn't do. Apparently, more information about that is coming out. And I mean, President Trump is even asking about it. And again, Jake the Snake, he's making his rounds. He's going on Stephen A, trying to act like, well, you know, this information that came from Biden's cabinet, they talked to me and they brought this information to me. And they're not mad because I'm releasing it. They're mad because it happened. If no one knew about it, would they be mad then? If Jake the Snake never wrote this book, would they even care then?
That's a really good question, actually, Will.
Right?
That's a really good question. Because, you know, people like me and you, like, we are not, a lot of this isn't surprising in a sense that we knew something was wrong with Joe Biden. It's surprising that people are actually admitting it now. Like, it's like, oh, wow, they're actually telling on their own, right? And I know you were talking about, you know, is this the end of the Democrat Party? I was listening to one guy speaking, a panelist on one of the shows, and he was saying, you know, one of the best things, if you want to look at it that way, of Democrats, if they win in the midterm elections, because most often, and it's unfortunate, that when, you know, a Republican is in office, typically the House, the Congress switches midterms. Same thing with the Republican, it switches midterms, right? Especially if it's all of them in power. But he was saying that that would actually be good for the 2028 election.
The 2026 election. Or the 2026? Because that's a midterm election, 2026.
No, it would be good in the 2028 elections for president, because they would see if the Democrats get in power again, that they're still the same party that we wanted out of power. They're still into wokeism. They're still, you know, for LGBT. They're not looking for the small person. I mean, all these things. They still want DEI. Like, it literally would ruin the Democrat Party, this person was saying. And
I think they're gonna see, you know, and I don't want to jump, you know, because I was seeing how bad the Democrat Party was in 2018.
I think a lot of conservatives were, yeah.
Right. I mean, I was saying, like, man, with the border issue, even in 2018, I was saying going into the midterm election of 2018, like, this should crush the Democrats. It should crush them. But the problem was many people were not recognizing what was happening. A lot of people didn't pay attention to politics, even though they paid attention to some of it when President Trump came into office. I started paying more attention to it. A lot of people did. But a great deal of the American people did not pay attention. A great deal of the American people didn't really pay attention until we had an issue happening in 2020. And then after that, the 4 years of Joe Biden brought more awareness to what the Democrats have been doing in this country than any other time. They got exposed. Not even just the Democrats, but the establishment rhinocrats. They got exposed on everything. And because remember, going into the presidential election, or actually before that, the 2022 election, Remember, they kept saying that because President Trump would endorse MAGA Republicans, and they were like so happy if a MAGA Republican lost the midterm and say, "Oh, this is good." People are not buying what President Trump is selling. The American people are not going along with President Trump. These MAGA Republicans, they're losing in that midterm election when Joe Biden was there. Remember that? Remember? I remember they were saying it, but nonetheless, the Republicans took the House. Didn't do too much of anything, right? Still there. Republicans still have the House, and now they actually have the House and the Senate, still not doing anything. The point is that I'm addressing here is that the Democrat Party have exposed themselves so much that it should crush them this midterm election. But how many people understand who did it? Because now they're out there lying, telling everybody that President Trump is the reason why the economy is the way it is, when President Trump is fixing the economy. They're blaming President Trump. They're even saying that, Shannon, because of President Trump, what he's doing with the tariffs, where their jobs are coming back to America, and where there's already reported thousands and thousands of jobs, actual jobs in the private sector, not in the federal government, but in the private sector, there's more jobs created. They're saying that what President Trump is doing with these tariffs are eliminating jobs.
Yeah,
they're actually saying that.
I actually heard that. I thought it was absolutely asinine.
They're actually saying that.
And also, well, I heard them say that this was left over from Joe Biden. The job creation is left over from Joe Biden. These people don't live in reality, because they even went back. There was an article not too long ago that was saying that literally the jobs that Joe Biden's administration said they were creating weren't even being created.
No.
It was all a farce.
They were fudging the numbers. Getting back to Jake the Snake. Remember Letitia James and Alvin Braggs? I'm surprised if CNN doesn't let Jake the Snake go after he said what he says here. Have you seen this, Shannon? Listen to what he says about Letitia James and Alvin Braggs.
I look at the way I covered, the president, some of the trials of the president, I thought were, I think it is problematic when people run for prosecutor and promise to go after a specific politician. And both Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, and Alvin Bragg, the District Attorney of New York, both of them did that. And that, to me, is problematic, because you're not saying this is the offense and we need to bring justice to this perpetrator. You're saying, I'm going to go after him. And I think that there was a degree to which that was tolerated by the media writ large. I mean, I did note it at the time, but and when Trump does the same thing, and he's the president, so it's also a different degree, people perceive it as more problematic.
So he's admitting that what Letitia James and Alvin Braggs did in New York was just completely wrong? Is he saying that out loud? How long, if he continues down this path, how long do you think CNN is going to allow him to do it? Because CNN is part of the problem too. All of CNN, they woke up every single day trying to figure out how they can take down Trump. The Communist News, or in this case, the Clinton News Network, every single day. I used to wonder, did they go to bed? And they probably still do. I used to wonder this about the people at CNN. Did they go to sleep thinking about Trump? And is tomorrow going to be the day that we get him? Is tomorrow going to be the day? I wondered, and I would love for someone to ask him that question. Did y'all go day in? Did y'all have meetings about, okay, today we're going to try to do X, Y, Z to see if we can take down Trump? I mean, they talked about Trump in their meetings. I remember, was it Project Veritas that got access to their private calls that they were having, and they were talking, and in the private calls, they were talking about Trump every single day that they were releasing those audio tapes. They were talking about Trump. So are they still doing it? What about MSDNC? Are they still talking about Trump every single day? Of course they are. They're still trying to figure out how to stop him. They're trying to figure out how to stop President Trump when it comes to the tariffs that's going to benefit the American people. They're trying to figure out how to stop President Trump when it comes to securing our southern border, because they don't like the fact that they're doing that. These radical lunatic liberals are fighting for MS-13 Trade de Agua, for goodness sake. And they're doing that. They're fighting. The only reason why they're fighting for him is because President Trump wants to remove him from the country for our safety and protection. That's the only reason why. Because they were here the entire time. They didn't say nothing about them. They know that they're criminals.
I think it's shocking what he's saying, because he's literally saying what we were saying all along, Will.
Yes.
I mean, conservatives were saying, we played her videos on replay, constantly saying she went after Trump. She said she was going to go after Trump.
When she was campaigning, she said one of her main focus was to get Trump.
Yep. And what did her and Alvin Bragg do? They got Trump, right? They recruited a judge, just so happened to get a couple of Trump's cases, which most judges will say that's pretty rare that would happen. So it looks like it was lined up that way. And he's admitting now, well, the media should have covered that better. You think? So he's actually admitting the fact that she went after Trump is a good case for Trump to say that this is lawfare. That's exactly what I just heard. He was saying that basically she committed lawfare. That's her and Alvin Bragg. Did you not hear the same thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
We should have protected President Trump by doing our job.
That's exactly what he's saying. My question is why all of a sudden now he's coming out saying the truth? Because he's trying to sell a book. That's it.
He is trying to sell a book.
He's trying to sell a book. I need these book sales to go.
You know what? It's funny because James Comey's doing the same thing.
James Comey doing the same thing.
Really interesting that 8647 just appeared in the Sand the day before his book comes out, and how everybody wanted to talk to James Comey, not about his book, but about the 8646.
And that's how he can get himself in the spotlight, right? Yeah, that's exactly it. It was a gimmick on his part. And he said, oh, what is this? And as I mentioned before, and everyone look at it, here's James Comey just walking along. Oh, look at this, everybody. 8647 just so happened to be in the Sand where I'm walking. I'm James Comey, and I'm just happening to walking along, and it's right there in the Sand.
I mean, Democrats.
Let me take a picture. It's such a cool formation. Let me take a picture.
Democrats really think their base is stupid, or the American people.
No, yeah, they are. No, actually, some of them are.
All the time.
I mean, some of them are. Because they started making signs 8647. They were making signs before James Comey. They were putting it out there. And I thought I'm like, is that not a threat? And it's not that they want to remove him. Now, it would be that it was just a removal of President Trump had they not had 2 attempts on his life. Then we might go along with it. But they're not. They want to bring harm to President Trump. Let me share one more with you, if I can, on Stephen A. And again, light bulb comes on, then it goes right out. Now, in this clip here, he's going to basically tell you that the Democrats have lied about everything. 99.9995.9%. Everything they lied about it, except for a fraction of a percent. But everything else they lied. If they lied about everything else, why wouldn't they lie about the other thing too? Y'all gonna know he's gonna bring it up. He's gonna bring it up, and he's gonna emphasize on that one thing. That last one, that was factual. But everything else was a lie. Everything was a lie. Except for the one thing. Have you ever known and talked to someone who that's gonna lie about everything? An employee or a co-worker, family member, anybody, so when you're going to school, someone that you talk to the person, and that person, for some unknown reason, just lies about everything. Have you ever met someone like that? See, this is what he is saying about the Democrat Party. Lied about everything, but if they lied about everything, why would they tell the truth about one thing? Does that make sense? Listen, you know what I'm talking about when you see it. Watch this.
It makes Trump look right. Because that hatred for him that led people to compromise their own professional principles just to ensure that he didn't win the presidency? Well, if you were willing to do that, then all of a sudden, does it not buffer his arguments about lawfare being exercised against him? Does it not buffer his argument about fake news, fake news, fake news? Does it not buffer the credibility that comes to his arguments that it was a witch hunt?
Come on now. Come on now. Y'all hearing him? You hearing him? This is the light bulb is shining, and then it's going to dim right back. It's going to dim out, and then it's going to come back on. But it's going to shut off. Not even dim. It's going to shut off. Watch. I'm going to try not to stop it. But listen to him.
Does it not in some way buffer the notion that somebody might have cheated him in 2020? I don't believe that last part. He lost that damn election. And I get that. I'm talking about him genuinely feeling cheated, as opposed to knowing he's lying because, oh my God, the numbers say so. Why should he give a damn? The rest of us, yes. Why should he give a damn about the numbers? You see what hatred can do?
You see the last part? He believes the last part. But everything else is a lie coming out the Democrat Party. That's what he's saying. They lied about everything else because they have so much hatred for President Trump. President Trump, they can't stand him. President Trump, to them, they lied about everything. President Trump can tell you to go outside, breathe fresh air because it does the body good. They will say President Trump is lying. President Trump will tell people, hey, the sun is going to come up tomorrow. He's lying. He's lying. How does he know if the sun's going to come up or not? This is how the Democrats operate. So they lie about everything except for the one thing, right? I mean, come on, people. How do you recognize something and then you just turn the light off? Okay, this because I want to believe this, but then the light comes back on, but it turns off on certain things.
You see what an absence of objectivity can do? You see how the corrupt actions of a few, whether it's him and a potpourri of his lies over the years, or Democrats and the lies that they were spewing leading up to the election. You see how we all got screwed? Because now the American people are sitting here not knowing what to believe or who to believe anymore. And then you wonder why I'm pissed.
Don't know what to believe or who to believe anymore. But now you know why I'm pissed. Really? He's ticked off because they lost. And as I kept saying, I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks, for months now, actually. He's been trying to get them to wake up. But all they can do is think Trump. I mean, Trump should be charging them rent. Right? He should be charging them rent because he's living in their head rent-free. So he should turn around and charge them because they're not charging him. He's trying not to live in their heads. But they want him there. They can't go a single day without thinking Trump. I mean, this is pretty sad.
And you know what?
Well, it's pretty sad. TDS is a real thing.
I still don't understand how, now that we know how Biden was or is, how they still believe that he's the one president that got more votes than anyone else in our history. The president that's literally going to go down as the worst president in history.
He's actually worse than Jimmy Carter.
The most fraud.
Oh my goodness, the most scandals
in history. They believe that he got the most votes. Come on now. Come on, Stephen A. I take you for a more intelligent person than that.
I mean, Stephen A, I'm telling you, light bulb comes on, goes right back out. Y'all saw it right there. Believe what I'm telling you when it comes to this one thing, but everything else, you got to believe me that the Democrats lie about everything. I mean, he just said it. Just said it. I'm sitting there looking at him like, really? Come on, dude. Come on. I mean, come on. Hey, let's talk about Rumble Studio really quick. Let's talk about Rumble. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for a small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation and opinions about COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to the pressure from what administration are we talking about? The Biden administration and the Harris administration. Rumble, though, they did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a place to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked in governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. It's just a fact. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believed in the First Amendment and believes in our human rights to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code. You can see it right here with the promo code STUDIO. With your purchase and when you purchase the annual subscription, go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means, it would be great. Now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we are just happy that you are here and that you are watching us here. Right, Will?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching me on Rumble, even on YouTube and Peel.net and still Facebook. I'm live on Facebook right now. I'm even live on Twitch. Y'all ever hear me talk about Twitch? I'm live on Twitch and we're live, of course, on X America News.
But places like Facebook, YouTube, they get the brand advertisers. Rumble doesn't.
Right.
So
right.
They need your help.
Well, and the reason we know why they do that, right? Because they don't want Rumble to come up. They don't want Rumble to thrive. They don't want Rumble to even exist. And I'm thankful that Rumble is there. I really am. And actually, Shannon, we got a monthly supporter on Rumble. Mini Ball. Thank you so much for becoming a monthly subscriber on Rumble. Thank you so much. I need all your help. And let me say this really quick before I go to this other one. My producer, she created this this Gifts and Go for my AC because my AC went out. And for those of you that's ever lived in Texas or ever drove through Texas, it's hot. I mean, Arizona gets hot, and I've been in Arizona. I visited Arizona, but it's like a dry heat per se. But Texas is a wet heat, I guess, because the water, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I have no idea why it's so hot in Texas.
Closer to the equator.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. It's a different kind of heat down here.
It is hot.
Yeah, it's a different kind of
look,
heat.
My producer created this, and people have been blessing me so far. I had someone come out and look at it. They charged me from coming to just come and tell me what the problem is, and I'm like, it's like But anyways, they charged me to come look at it. They told me it's a compressor, and to replace the compressor is $3,000. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is devastating. I mean, look at this. Look how Facebook has already done me. I mean, I just got my YouTube channel back not too long ago. I'm thankful to have it back. It is monetized, and people bless me there as well every now and then, and I greatly appreciate it. So if you want to help me with my AC, you can see Shannon replaced my head with a hot head there, and it's givesandgo.com/fix my AC. I would greatly appreciate it if God puts it on your heart just to help me out. Anything helps. Anything helps. I had one person send me a message. And this was some time ago when I had Facebook stars available. It said, Will, I'm so sorry I can't send you any more Facebook stars. And it was like 30 Facebook stars. And it's like 30 cents. I said, are you kidding me? This is a blessing. Everything, anything is a blessing. It is a blessing from God. And it makes me think, when people have a lot and they don't help, but then when people have a little, they do. When I used to deliver pizzas when I was a lot younger, I was a deliver pizza boy. Can you imagine Will Johnson coming up to your door delivering pizza? I might have to, the way they're doing me. I might have to get a job or something here. But I remember delivering pizzas, and I went to the really rich neighborhoods, and they would sometimes they give me 50 cents. Sometimes they wouldn't give me anything. But then when I went to the other neighborhoods that were middle class and not struggling, sometimes they would give me $5 tips. I noticed that. And see, that's part of the reason why right now the radical left keeps screaming about the rich people not paying their fair share. And it's not even about that. Rich people are rich because they keep the money. It is what it is. And I'm not even knocking them for it. But people that are in my position, like, for example, when I order pizza today, even though you're the DoorDash or whatever it is, Uber Eats, I guess I need to say both of them because I'm not plugging them. But when I get them, I still give a tip. Even though I'm broke, I still give a tip because they're working. They're working. They're trying to make it happen just like I am. So I'm very appreciative to every single person that goes to my website, even unitedamericafirst.com, and support me there. But if you want to help me with my AC, givesendgo.com/fix my AC. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, let me go to this one. Do you know who Joe Scarborough is? Do you know who that is? He has a show on MSDNC called Morning Joe. He claims to be a Republican, or he used to. I haven't heard him say it in a while, but he claimed to be one in the past. And he's a total leftist radical democrat. He really is. Well, he's kind of doing the same thing that Jake the Snake is doing, but now I don't think he has a book out that he's trying to sell. I think he's trying to redeem himself. That's all that they're trying to do, trying to convince people like, oh, yeah, you know what? We may have got this one wrong, but this is the reason why we said this. This dude was completely nasty towards President Trump. Split screen it for me. So he goes on with this dude next up. I guess it's the name of it. And the guy over on the other end, he calls out Joe Scarborough. He calls him out. But then Joe Scarborough goes on this rant trying to give all these excuses on why he did what he did. And the guy never stops him and said, wait a minute, that's not true. But nonetheless, he calls him out here in the beginning. Watch.
Looking back at that, do you say, well, it was misleading to say Best Buy never, without caveating it and say, except on the days when he's not the Best Buy now?
You remember, I meant to get that video too, Shannon. Remember when he was saying, this is the best Joe Biden ever? This is after Joe Biden with the debate. This is Joe Biden falling up the stairs. Joe Biden shaking invisible hand. Joe Biden talking to dead people. Joe Biden falling off a bike. Joe Biden falling down on stage. This is Joe Biden making up words. Joe Biden not knowing where he is. Joe Biden needing a card to call on people. Joe Biden struggling, fighting with the teleprompter. Joe Biden can't even complete a sentence. But this is the best Joe Biden. You remember that? This is the best Joe Biden. That's what Joe Scarborough was saying.
But I never saw those days personally.
Well, you did because you saw him address a dead congresswoman, and you saw him in South Carolina.
A dead congresswoman, yeah.
Well, more than that. I can show you. I can show you the RNC clip reels. There were plenty of days in public when he was not the best Biden ever, and of course, shortly after, he stumbled and bumbled around. Mark, I mean, yeah, he certainly did. Donald Trump did. Other politicians did. But it's actually the same case as a lot of times when I've gone in and talked to Donald Trump. We've gone to Donald Trump, and I've heard the media narrative around Donald Trump, and certainly I've been very critical of Donald Trump. And when I leave, I have a better understanding, just like Jeffrey Goldberg did a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, whatever. Shut up. Has he, even right now, he still can't bring himself to say anything positive about President Trump. He won't do it. This goes on for maybe another 3 to 4 minutes. And it goes on rambling like that, with Donald Trump. People go in the room with Donald Trump and they come out have a different understanding. But he still says nothing. He said that Joe Biden, this is the best version of Joe Biden. He said it, and he was adamant about it. He was like, nope, not listening to anything else. This is the best version of Joe. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about Joe Biden.
Yeah, and let me just say, Bill Maher, he was reluctant about going in and having a conversation with President Trump. And he actually came out saying Trump was actually a real guy. He's funny. He has a sense of humor. He was actually quite pleasant to talk to. In fact, more people that don't know Trump and then they go have a conversation with him, they end up being more impressed with President Trump because he's a likable guy. He's a friendly guy. He listens to people.
Oh, Trump is like a comedian. I've said this. How many times have I said this, Shannon, that 100 years from now, they're going to go back, or even 50 years from now, they're going to go back and they're going to look at the videos. You know how we look at JFK and we look at all of the other ones in the past. They're going to look at President Trump 50 years from now and they say he was a comedian. He was funny. Oh my goodness. He was funny. He's a comedian. President Trump, he doesn't want to fight with people. He wants people to do the right thing. And that's what I didn't understand when President Trump was doing The Apprentice. I thought he was arrogant. You're fired. You're fired. And I'm like, man, this dude is rude. He's mean. But you know what it is? He just wants people to do the right thing. Do your job. That's what he wants. And I'm like, so I have so much respect for President Trump. And I've even thought about going back watching The Apprentice. I've even thought about going back and watching them. It was like it was a number one series for many years even. But now I understand why he was the way he was, because he just wants people to do the right thing. This is the same president. After Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the Democrats were trying to impeach President Trump, and President Trump still sat down with them to try to work on the infrastructure bill. Remember that? This was President Trump's first term. He says, look, let's put all that to the side and let's see what we can do to come together that would benefit the American people. Chuck Schumer couldn't do it. Nancy Pelosi couldn't do it. They were just angry with Trump because they can't go a day without trying to think about some kind of way to take Trump down.
You know what, Will? It's kind of funny talking about the art of the deal. I understand Trump backwards. Like, me knowing him now as a president, I really didn't know him before. Probably kind of like what you're talking about too. But now when I look back at the art of the deal and I look at him on talk show hosts and different things, now I'm like, now I understand Trump's always been the same person. He's always been a deal maker. He's always been able to see a problem and see how it can be fixed. He's always been forward thinking. He's always thought outside of the box. That's one thing that makes him very successful as a businessman and as president.
Yeah. And we actually have a president that's not running the country like a stinking politician. This is what I voted for. What about you? Is this what you voted for? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Is this what you voted for? Because this is what I voted for. And President Trump, he's doing a phenomenal job, above and beyond, actually. And I can't wait to see what the second 100 days is going to look like at the end of it. Because the first 100 days were phenomenal. And all of the Democrats are upset. The second 100 days are going to be miraculous because President Trump is cutting all of their funds. Can you imagine after all of this time that you were beating the American people out of their taxpayer dollars, and then all of a sudden you get someone to come along and then shut it off? You know what I'm surprised about, Shannon? Well, actually, there has been a few. I'm surprised that they didn't get a radical judge to come out and say that you cannot cut these funds to the Democrats, but actually there have been some, even though it's been wasteful spending. I can only imagine that maybe somewhere down the line, a family member or something, a friend or, some kind of company, something that the judge might be tied to, that money's getting dried up as well. Because now you have the court system believing that they're the fourth branch of the federal government. And it's all about the shadow government that I've been talking about. When they went onto the floor, the House floor, and they were actually talking about the shadow government, creating it and putting people in a position to basically go against everything that President Trump was doing. So the shadow government, they have a cabinet. So you have Pam Bondi, you have Kash Patel, you have Kristi Noem, you have various people in President Trump's cabinet, Pete Hegseth, the Democrats have appointed someone else in the shadow government to shadow them. So their whole point of doing that, and I've talked about this extensively before, the whole point of creating a shadow government is when someone in President Trump's cabinet is working on something like Marco Rubio, they will have their appointed cabinet member to show up to try to stop President Trump from completing the task. For example, Harvard. Right now, Marco Rubio was saying no longer are we just going to allow people to do a visa and just walk on into the country when they're supporting these terrorist organizations. No longer going to happen. It's not going to happen anymore. But yet they're trying to stop President Trump and Marco Rubio from doing that very thing because they want that to happen. Marco Rubio and President Trump said, okay, from now on, we're going to vet these people coming in. And if you show any signs that you've been supporting Hamas, the Taliban, MS-13, Trade Agua, it doesn't matter. If you're supporting these terrorist organizations, you do not get to come in. The Democrats are upset about that. Why are they so upset about that? They're saying, oh, this is a ban. No, it's not even a ban. It's a pause to figure out how they're going to vet these people. And on top of that, I talked about this yesterday, they're going to start looking at these people trying to come into the country, their social media posts. And I've mentioned it. They're going to scrub a lot of data. But guess what? They're going to be able to go back and look at that data because there's actually tools. Many people don't know about this. There's actually tools that when you delete something, they can use that tool to go back and look at it because anything goes on the internet. There's a humongous database that people don't even have a clue about. Humongous database that's gathering all of this data. It's big money. Did you know data mining is even bigger than gold now? Did you know that? Go look it up. Go look it up. Unless it's changed in the last few years. But when I was in IT, that was one of the biggest things that ever came, that was the discussion, that data mining, because this is how they market stuff. This is how they can push certain information, data mining. That's why it was such a big deal when supposedly, allegedly, where Mark Zuckerberg was selling off data because it's a big money maker. Let me change it up really quick before we actually, let me just go. I'm going to play one of these at least before we run out of time. I got to, because you have Dan Bongino. He went on Fox News and he's talking about the Epstein files. He's talking about James Comey. He's talking about these rogue FBI agents still in the agency. They're talking about the changes that they're making. And basically, Dan Bongino is doing what I was anticipating that they were possibly doing, that they're gathering all the data. They're getting everything together. And he kind of mentioned that here soon that you're going to see an arrest. This is what Dan Bongino's saying. He didn't mention who the person is or who they are. He didn't say that. He says, just look, there's so much information. And he made it clear, some of the data that they have doesn't even fall under the FBI. Some of it may fall under the Secret Service, CIA, but they're gathering all the data that they can. And he says there are going to be some that's coming. We are just impatient because we saw what happened with Doge. Doge found fraudulent information, shared it with the world. The Democrats went berserk. Oh, no, this is unacceptable. You're not supposed to tell the American people how we've been cheating them. Say the Democrats.
So the moment Cash and I swore in, we realized that the first thing we had to do is rebuild public trust. This is your FBI. It's not mine. I tell the employees every day, you don't own it. You don't own it. I don't own it. It's like being the center fielder for the Yankees. That'll live with you forever, but you don't own the Yankees. It's a proud franchise. The place has taken a reputational hit. There is zero question about it. There were a lot of bad actors. One of them still out there causing us all kinds of trouble. So we had to fix it and rebuild public trust. One of the ways to do it is these cases of significant public interest that matter. You know, we had 2 pipe bombs planted on January 6th. I mean, we were told by partisan actors out there this was the insurrection. The world was going to fall apart, and no one seemed to show any interest in this case. The second we got in, I put a team on it, and I said, I want answers on this. And I'm pretty confident that we're closing in on some suspects. The reason, by the way, I use social media with these cases, I'm trying to communicate on social media, is nothing's by accident, guys. I do nothing by accident. Every time I put a tweet out on it, we get tips. We got a fascinating tip on one of these cases, one of the three. I don't want to say which one, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to close out one of them, hopefully shortly. And in the cocaine in the White House, I saw someone on social media, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. We work for you, but said, I don't care about the case. Yeah, I do. I was a Secret Service agent. A potentially hazardous material made its way into the White House. Nobody seems to know how it got there, and nobody seemed to investigate it fully. Like, what planet do we live on where that's not of public interest? So,
you know what? And the person is probably saying that they don't care. I don't know if it's even a conservative. It might be a conservative saying that they don't care. And the reason why I would believe that someone would say that to Dan Bongino on social media, that we don't care about that, is because we care about the people that allow it to happen. We care about the people that did so much damage to the American people. That's what we care about. But with that said, I think Dan Bongino is still on the right track. In order to find out the people who looked the other way when the cocaine showed up, you got to go after them. Why did you allow it to happen? Why did you not do an investigation? Right? These are questions that I have. Why in the world would you say that this is not an important case? So don't go after the people that just box it up. Go after the people who gave the order, look the other way. I think it goes all the way up. There's a reason why they wanted that story to go away. There's a reason why they didn't want anyone to talk about the pipe bomb, whatever that was out there. There's a reason why they wanted people to not acknowledge it. Most people forgot about it. Most people don't even think about it. Of course, I'm going to admit it. I don't think about it every single day. There's so much happening. And see, that's the whole point. They want people to be bombarded with all of this other detail and not even acknowledge that it was even happening, that it did happen. Susan, thank you so much for the super chat on YouTube. Thank you so much for the super chat, Susan. Susan says, thank you, Will, for bringing common sense. I find it really easy. Just tell the truth. Even when I don't like the truth, just tell the truth. And thank you so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate it. And Filter Dog with the gold pills on pill.net. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? Filter Dog says that the pipe bomber will uncover the J6 Fed insurrection 100%. And I think that's the reason why they're going to do it. I want them to do it. Be honest with you, I really do. That and the cocaine. Find out the information. Find out the details. Right? Hey, okay, let's do that really quick. So I want to talk about this. You want to bring it up, Shannon? Okay. So actually, let's bring this over while you're getting it ready. UniteAmericaFirst.com. UniteAmericaFirst.com. Okay, never mind. Go ahead and bring this up right here.
Yeah. If you're looking for a great place online for news, discussion, and entertainment, then check out True Social, Donald Trump's social media website. You'll get breaking news, stories, commentary from top media figures. If you want to see Trump's legendary True Social posts, then get on True Social today. Join a growing community of patriots on a free speech platform designed to avoid censorship and cancellation by big tech. Make your voice heard. Join the movement.
Yes, make your voice heard. And that's my True Social handle right there, everybody. That's my True Social handle that you can see there at the bottom of the screen. That's my True Social. If you want to connect with me there, I do post on there. I like to tell the truth on True Social, as I do everywhere else. But that's my handle right there if you want to connect with me. All right. So my website, UniteAmericaFirst.com, for anyone who wants to help me continue to support me, please, right there, you can see at the top, there's 4 options right there where you can donate to me monthly and sign up for the free newsletter. If nothing else, sign up for the free newsletter. Did I say free? It is a free newsletter. And I don't send out a whole bunch of newsletters because I don't want to blow up your inbox. I don't have to explain that, right? I think you would appreciate, okay, Will Johnson sent out an email, not blowing up my inbox. Right here, like I said, there's monthly subscriptions. If you want to help me out, support me, I would greatly appreciate it. Or if you just want to do it one time, say, okay, I got a little extra, I can help Will Johnson out this one time, right there in the middle. Or at the bottom, my physical address is available. My physical address is right there. And let me say this, I say this every single time. If you send me a letter, you send me a gift, you send me the envelope, I keep the envelope and the letter. I've kept every single one from day one since I've started doing this. Every single one of them. UniteAmericaFirst.com/donate. Please consider supporting me. If God has put it on your heart just a little bit, please consider supporting me. I really, truly need your help. God bless everybody. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll open up the phone lines if you want to holler at me. See you tomorrow. Stay safe.